Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wellness Healing, and today we're going to be tapping on abandonment wounds. So, before we start, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment if that's comfortable, and just feel into what gets triggered when you're feeling abandoned or rejected. Noticing what emotions are there for you. And even though we might say, I feel abandoned, I feel rejected, those aren't actually emotions. That's an interpretation or a story we have of what's happening, often linked to past experiences or baggage. And so noticing what the emotion is. Do you feel sad, powerless, angry, scared, confused? And also noticing what happens internally when you have a story that you're being rejected, abandoned. Do you leave your body? Do certain areas get tight, achy, jittery, numb? Noticing if there's a story attached about yourself or the world. It might be nobody cares, I don't matter, I'm unlovable. People always bail when things get hard. People are unreliable and all alone. Just noticing if there's a story. And if there is, maybe asking yourself if there was an age associated with this feeling. What age might that be? When you're ready, maybe opening your eyes. You can also check in and see how charged this feeling of abandonment is right now from 0 to 10, 10 being the most charged. And at the end, you can check in and see if it's gone down a little bit. Tapping on the side of your hand. You can open your eyes for this part, or you can keep them closed. I invite you to repeat after me out loud or in your head. And feel free to modify the words to fit your own situation. Even though my abandonment wound has been activated, it's bringing up a lot of emotions. Even though I'm feeling abandoned, rejected, and I have this story that I'm unlovable, I'm open to loving and accepting myself deeply and completely, even with this. Deep breath, tapping on your head. Hi, part of me that's feeling abandoned. inside of the eyebrows, rejected, outside of the eyes. I see you. Under the eyes, I feel you. Under and above the lips. Hi, old abandonment wound. Collarbone. I know you're there. Middle of the sternum. Hi, sadness. Ribs. Anger. Side of the body. Powerlessness. Side of the wrist, and add any other emotions that are coming up for you around this. Back of the wrist. Front and back of the other wrist. Take a deep breath. Hi, shame. Head. Hi, confusion. Side of the eyebrows. So many emotions. Outside of the eyes. I acknowledge the part of you that does not want to feel these at all. Under the eyes. Who wants to feel all of this? Under and above the lips. And part of me knows that the more I reject my emotions, collarbone, the stronger they get. Sternum. So maybe I can just acknowledge they're here. Deep breath. Ribs. Hi, old belief. Side of the body, triggered by the current situation. Inside of the wrist. That I'm not lovable. Other wrist. I need to prove my worth by making others love me. And you can add any belief here that came up for you when rejecting. Inside of the eyebrows. Hi, old belief that. Outside of the eyes. I acknowledge you. Under the eyes. Hi, young me who developed that belief. Under and above the lips, breathe. Under the collarbone. I am so sorry you got the message. Middle of the sternum. That you weren't enough. Ribs. that you weren't going to get love just for being you. Side of the body. I'm sorry things felt so precarious. Inside and outside of the wrist, breathe. Other wrist. And under those circumstances, head, it was so smart of you. Inside of the eyebrows. So smart of you. Outside of the eyes. And brave. Under the eyes. To develop whatever strategy you needed to. Under the lips. To survive. Under the collarbone. As pushing people away. Sternum. Scanning them for their needs. Ribs. Doing whatever they needed you to do. Or you thought they needed you to do. Side of the body. To get some love and approval. Inside and outside of the wrist. And here you can add any other strategy that was true for you. That might still be true now. Inside and outside of the wrist. That was exactly what you had to do at the time. Tapping all over the head, breathe. Inside of the eyebrows. And of course you develop the belief that you're unlovable. Outside of the eyes, and add any other belief that you developed. Under the eyes. That's the only way you can make sense of things. Side of the body. And there was never anything wrong with you. Inside and outside of the wrist. Their inability to be there for you. Wrist. To give you unconditional love. Had nothing to do with you. Inside of the eyebrows and everything to do with their limitations. Outside of the eyes, their wounding. Under the eyes. Take a deep breath. Under and above the lips. And the good news is our circumstances have changed. Collarbone. And I have so many resources and choices. Middle of the sternum that you didn't have. Deep breath. Ribs, and it's possible we're safe. Side of the body, breathe. Perhaps closing your eyes if they're open. Tapping inside and outside of your wrists and just checking in with that part that feels abandoned. At the wrist, noticing if anything has shifted, feeling into that younger self. And if it hasn't, invite you to keep tapping on the first part of this video. If it has, I invite you to hold out in front of you. You can stop tapping, hold your hands out in front of you. And I invite you to feel into this belief you developed about yourself based on what you were experiencing as a child. Again, it might be I'm unlovable, nobody's there for me. And recognizing that that was not the general truth of things. It was just very specific circumstances. And that the only thing that makes it feel like those circumstances are still happening is this belief that's becoming self-fulfilling prophecy. And so if it feels available and you feel ready, if not, that's totally fine. Again, you can go back to the beginning of this video. But otherwise, I invite you to nod to this belief, recognizing how it served a purpose for your young self and how maybe it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. Releasing that belief, energy and light, releasing any cords that are still tying you to that belief, to whatever events led you to develop that belief. Holding in front of you any coping strategy you developed, and sometimes there are split coping strategies like clinging with one hand, pushing away, and not meeting with the other. But whatever coping strategies you developed to feel safe, to not feel as hurt, nod to those as well. And if you and your younger self who developed them feels ready, you can release the coping strategies. Any cords that are tying you to those. And feeling into this younger version of you, whether you have an age or not, it's okay. But that felt abandoned, rejected, not enough. Now that we've released those beliefs, we can pop that trauma capsule, push, catch that younger self, bringing them into your heart so that they feel held, supported. And then maybe fast forwarding from the younger self into current time so that they have the benefit of your current situation, your resources, the knowing you have now. And calling in any extra reinforcements for your current self, your young self, to feel loved, supported, recognizing that often when we feel abandoned, rejected, it's that we're actually abandoning that young part of ourselves to try to get some need met externally. So really feeling yourself holding that young self and calling in any other energy that wants to help you with that sense of support. Be a color, an element like water or air or earth, be a village, some nature, an animal. And if nothing shows up, it is enough for you to just be holding space for yourself, your younger self. And deep breath. And imagine what it's like to walk through your life without this story that you have about yourself or the world. Just trusting that whatever's happening is okay, is enough, that you're enough. Supported, grounded, anchored, regardless of what's happening externally. That those circumstances don't actually determine your worth or your safety. Just feeling that as a possibility. You're ready, opening your eyes if they were closed, and tapping all over your body, shaking it out, touching something grounding. Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Feel free to leave comments below about how that went for you, and like, subscribe. And I do a lot of work with people on abandonment and rejection wounds. So feel free to check out my website and set up a 30-minute consultation with me, which is free. Thank you so much.